It's the Daylight Midnight Show.
Hello and welcome to the Daylight Midnight Show. My name is Greg and I'm going to apologise straight away for my voice, and I hope that it holds up. I've had one of these horrible colds that is going around, and over the past 5 days my voice has gone through about 5 different octaves. It's cracked like a teenager with puberty. It's made me sound like an opera singer. It's made me sound like a Welsh miner. It's gone all over the place, so I'm hoping it lasts. It feels alright at the moment, which is why I'm filming this now, because I thought I'll get it done quickly before my voice starts to pack up and leave home again. It's going to be a much shorter show this week as well because of last week's incident with the time. I'll refer you to last week's show rather than keep going over it, but the rules are 10-minute show. If I go over, we have to take that time off. I let myself off last week, but then I went over time again, so here we are. It has been suggested to me by several people that we do away with the time limit altogether, or make it longer, or just have it as a guideline so that we're not rushed and that I'm not constantly thinking about the time and trying to do too much, and then if I want to waffle on a bit longer and it's entertaining, we can go ahead with it rather than me cut stuff short. So I'm going to look at all that when we do a bit of a review at the end of the series, which by the way is going to be next time. The next episode will be the end of series 2, and I'll explain why. Very odd reasons. I know it might seem strange because we've only just come back after a mid-season break, but when I started series 2, this just explains to you the weird things that go on in my head. I decided that the title of each show in this series would have one word more than they did in series 1, and the series as a whole would have one less episode than series 1. So series 1, every episode I gave a 2-word name, and there were 23 episodes in the series. So I decided that series 2, every episode would have 3 words in the title, and there'd only be 22 episodes in the series. And I've decided to stick to that because it'd be good to get rid of this. We'll clear off the Door of Delights and start again. We can decide new features, how we want to go with the show, and then either have a break or come straight on and go on with series 3. But next week, no time limit at all. We'll just have a bit of fun and we'll draw series 2 to a close. So let's get on with this episode then, episode number 21, by revealing our wonderful word of the week. And this week it is the word plash. And no, this is not a spelling mistake, and I haven't let a letter off the start of the word. This really, I couldn't believe this. I can't believe I've got to nearly 50 years old without knowing this, and maybe I did know it and I've forgotten it. You might know it and you might not learn anything from this, but splash and plash are both acceptable words and they are slightly different. So I'm going to read this so I get it right. The word splash is the sound of something going into water, whereas plash is the word for the sound of water hitting something else. So if you jump in the pond, you will make a splash. If your shower drips water into the bottom of the bath, it makes a plash. I cannot believe I didn't know the difference. I didn't know this existed, but apparently it does. So I've chosen it as our word of the week. From there, being aware of the time, we swing around to the Door of Delights. Nothing new to report, but we do have this week's topical limerick. And the story this week is this. We're going back to Australia, which is a place we visited quite regularly for the topical limerick. Record-breaking hailstones have fallen during a particularly violent storm in Queensland in Australia. It's been claimed, and there are amateur photographic evidence from amateur photographs, I know what I'm trying to say, I'm blaming the cold for this, that in a place called Yalbaroo, which is 500 miles north of Brisbane, for those of you that know your Antipodean geography, they were as big as 16 centimetres, that's 6 inches across, which I'm going to have to be careful here, but I believe it's about that. That's about 6 inches. So imagine a hailstone, basically the size of my hand, coming down from the heavens. If confirmed, they'll be the biggest hailstones ever seen in the country. And according to Shane Kennedy from the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, can that be his real name? Shane Kennedy. Isn't that the name you'd come up with if someone said to you, just come up with a generic name for someone Australian? You'd think, what's an Australian name? Shane, and I watch Neighbours, so Kennedy, Shane Kennedy. But apparently that's his real name. He says they would have hit the ground, or whatever got in the way, travelling at more than 60 miles per hour. So imagine a hailstone, rock solid, the size of my fist, coming down at 60 miles per hour. Car windows were smashed, there was loads of damage, not surprisingly. So a limerick about this. In the village of Yalbaroo, looking up is the safe thing to do. If you use an umbrella, you'll be a dead fella. The hailstones are bigger than you. I quite like that. I'll give that a B+. So let's swing round to the brown folder, which of course now has its own theme song. Washing up needs fairy liquid, clothing needs a peg. Let's see what is written in the folder that is Greg's. Oh, the voice. That sounded better. I think it was the other ukulele that was causing the problems. That's a work in progress anyway. So, the brown folder, things I've written down over the last 7 days to talk about. Not many this week because I'm aware of the time. I've still got the thing about my awful shopping trip that I mentioned last week. I'm going to share it with you, but I'll do it next week in the season finale. A quote from my son. This came out of nowhere. He just suddenly turned to me and went, "Do you realise, Dad, you can't spell segregation without the word Greg?" And schlemazel was our word of the week last week, and I explained to you that it means someone who is unlucky or clumsy or accident prone, and I swear this is true. I finished filming the show, I went outside to hang some washing out because it was a lovely day. I tripped over a stick in the garden and that stick bent up and went into my ankle and caused it to bleed. Schlemazel. Explain why it's the season finale next week. I've actually done that already. So that is actually everything from the brown folder because I'm trying to be a good boy and limit this to about 5 or 6 minutes. So let's swing around to outfit roulette then for the final time. Let's decide what I'm going to wear for next week's season finale using the randomness of the Rubik's Cube, and hopefully it won't be the onesie for a change. So we are going with the blue column, which is, oh, my body warmer, so I'll be wearing that over the top of whatever this is, and that is colour orange, which is going to be the onesie again. Okay, fair enough. 3 in a row for the onesie, a hat trick of onesie outfit roulette, and finally blue, which is my jester hat, so I don't have to worry about my hair again. So next week then it will be the body warmer over the onesie, accompanied by a jester hat, and that will be the last appearance of this iteration of outfit roulette because we will change it, but we will keep it, but we will change it for Series 3. So a bit of an odd one, bit of a shorter one this week. We're going to leave it there. Thank you for your company. A rhyming couplet to end the show on then. I kept on waffling on for much longer than I oughta, and this show, as a consequence, has been 5 minutes shorter. My voice held up as well. I'll see you next week. Have a great 7 days.